Well, lads, how are we doing? It is Sombra del Piso, a being from high society. I just came from one of F. Scott Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby parties, and I met Gatsby himself with that woman that he's always obsessed over, and I decided to just do some perusal of the news, you know what I mean? I left my monocle and my curly mustache at the party. I think Salvador Dali, some sort of pseudo Salvador Dali, some artist or whatever, stole my mustache and is carrying on with his life. So what I'm gonna do today is we're gonna start talking about perusing the news. Sombra del Piso is sort of trying to resurrect his spirit, he says. So I'm going to do the Peruse the News segment for him. I think we're at episode 8, I believe, since I last checked. So as he says, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and then we're gonna get right into it. Call me Nathaniel, shall you? Call me Nathaniel. So I have a lot of... No, we got a lot of articles that we're gonna talk about today. Seriously, we got some interesting news. Human beings never cease to amaze me. I'm telling you, how do they do these things? How do they do it? How do they do it? Okay, so what we're going to look at. I got really good news. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, guys, and let's get right into it. The GQ, remember in my first episode of the Peruse the News, I said that the GQ, the writers of the GQ magazine, which I'm very, very familiar with because I used to be subscribed to the Wall Street Journal back when I was going to college. These guys write about actually everything, anything, and then they try to validate it through their perverseness. It's like, come on, look at this. We're reading the GQ today. We're reading an article by a Sophia Benoit, right? The article name is 6 Ways That Sex Changes After Sobriety. So not only they're promoting sex, right? They're not promoting sobriety as a complete thing that includes abstention from alcohol, drugs, and whatever else that is horrible for the body, but they're not including sex in that as well. This is interesting. Let's see what Sophia has to say. There is no universal experience of sobriety, but when GQ spoke with a range of people who have given up drugs and alcohol, there was a unanimous consensus that it changed their relationship to sex. Pretty much everything changed when I got sober, and sex was no different, and said Andrew, a 38-year-old from Columbus, Ohio, who had been sober for over 2 years, and who, like others in the story, asked to only be identified by his first name. No one's gonna hunt him, right? What, people are gonna hunt him down to try to tempt him with alcohol? Like, come on, guys. Like, how does that even work? Everyone we spoke with about sex post-sobriety expressed this idea in one way or another. They all also talked about how intimacy genuinely improved after getting sober, but also emphasized how difficult it was to adjust to having sex without drugs or alcohol. So this is interesting because in this paragraph, it's sort of, there's a truth that is sort of revealed, actually, that a lot of individuals in this world, a lot of people in this society, a lot of males, right, are sleeping with women on the aid of drugs and alcohol. Are you serious? Sex is supposed to be one of the most meaningful things that 2 individuals could share. And we have trivialized it so much that men are using drugs and alcohol to stay turned on, to stay in, you know, continuing that union with their wives and or their significant others, because, you know, there's that too. There's a prevalence of sexual relationships outside of marriage. This is insane. This is crazy. Like, what? Imagine me, like, imagine you being a healthy individual having to require the aid of drugs or alcohol in order to sleep with your significant other. I just don't understand. I can't get it. I don't know. If that's a reality that exists, I can't enter that reality. I'm sorry. I guess I'm locked out. Let's read what else Sophia has to say. She references a woman. One woman, Liz, 43, from Des Moines, who has been sober for over a year, described the amount of pleasure that I have experienced. I didn't know my body was capable of this, she said. Rob, 32, from Bethesda, who has been sober for 8 years. Like me, I've been sober for 8 years, but I've also haven't had sex for the past 6 months, or even longer than that. I've just been on semen retention for the past 6 months. I don't think Rob has been on that. Agreed. There are no aspects of my life, post-sobriety, including, and in some ways, especially romantically and sexually, that are not markedly better. So it's like they're promoting jumping out of the fire, of the frying pan and into the fire, right? It's good you're not drinking. It's good that you're not taking drugs anymore. That's good. You're sober. That's beautiful. which is incredibly difficult in this day and age. People can't even get along without the aid of alcohol, you know? God forbid, outside of a bar, after that little tryst with your friend, you know, a little social outing with your friends, you all split your ways outside of the bar, you're waiting for an Uber, the Uber is taking very long to come through, so you decide to go to the corner store and get something to drink, you know, a glass of water, a bottle of water. Not talking from experience, I'm just talking from observation. And you just are not talking to anyone. There are people that are just very, very excited, you know, walking down the street, and you guys just don't communicate with each other because it's just normal in this reality. It's crazy. It's so wild. So it's like now they're promoting, okay, you're staying away from alcohol and drugs, but let's have just sex all around. The problem with this is that a lot of these people that are sober for reasons of staying away from alcohol is sober because they have like very, very addictive personalities. The moment they jump out of one thing, they're gonna go to another extreme, which is now sex. Now this GQ magazine or article is promoting just sleeping around because it feels great when you're sober. And now they're gonna try to cause a lot of other people to come try it too. Just throwing, they have like this long line, right? This long rope that people are pulling on, and whoever at the end is at the end of the rope, just dragging all these guys into the abyss, off the precipice of mental stability. What do we do? What do we do? You see, look at this. Before I got clean, sex had a clear purpose. It filled a void, like the drugs. And like the drugs, I sort of chased it. But once I got clean, I didn't really know where to put sex. You know, and that's sort of been my growth with sex. 9 years sober. This guy, Keith, 41 years old. So, like I said, this paragraph just explained it. These guys are going from one extreme to the other with this. It's horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. There were downsides to having sex when drinking. I was so numb to a lot of the time that it was sometimes hard to maintain an erection or hard to actually achieve orgasm. That changing when I got sober was actually kind of nice. I both felt more present and more physically sensitive and responsive, which was both fun. Like I can actually feel things in a way that I haven't. But there were some concerns about premature ejaculation becoming an issue, whereas I'd had the opposite problem for a long time. So it was relearning sex and how to do it and feel comfortable with it. So this article, I mean, it's good, guys. Be sober. Me, 8 years sober. I never had an issue with alcohol. I just decided that it was the better of the alternative, which was continuously drinking, because it leads to all around mental, physical, spiritual health. And it's easier to stay on the practice of semen retention when you are not influenced by drugs and alcohol. Sobriety is a very, very good thing. The problem with this article is, like I said before, is that it's leading people into another extreme, which is the depths of sex. When you start going into sex and everything starts feeling good, people are going to continuously do it, which in turn will have them go to do other things in order to continuously fuel that pleasure. This is the reality. So that's it for this article. Let's look at something else, lads. Let's look at something else. Sobriety piece, I think he's in the bathroom right now. So me and Nathaniel's gonna continue this Peruse the news. I got a good one. So this one is from the Times, the Sunday Times from London. I subscribe to this newspaper just because it has a lot of good information. I feel like the London British writers are just so good. I mean, you can tell from their old literature, you can tell from Isaac Newton, the guy that translated the Bible, obviously, and now this newspaper. This is written by a Peter B. That's two different names, by the way. The title of the article is How to Improve Your Blood Pressure in 3 Months. Interesting. I have a lot to say about this, by the way, because I had a little bout with high blood pressure once upon a time. I had a little scare, and I'm going to tell you how I fixed it. But let's read what Peter has to say. About 1 in 3 UK adults, 32%. Thank you for letting us know, because actually it's 33.3%, but Peter, it's okay. Math is not your strong suit. Let's just stick to literature. 1 in 3 UK adults are thought to be living with high blood pressure or hypertension, yet for as many as 4 million people in England, it remains undiagnosed. Labeled as a silent killer, hypertension has a few symptoms and takes hold insidiously, but if left untreated can lead to fatal heart attacks, kidney disease, and vascular dementia. So let me tell you about my bouts with high blood pressure, guys. So I was on semen retention, of course, for a really long time. I think a year and change ago, no, 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago. I was heading to Colombia. I was heading to South America. I wanted to do like a little checkup, a physical checkup, just to make sure everything was tip top, so I don't like infect anyone indirectly on the plane or on a bus ride or whichever on the way over there. The doctor said, Sombra, your blood pressure readings is incredibly high. Do you eat a lot of foods that are high in sodium? Do you eat a lot of sugary foods? And I said, not that I'm particularly aware of. I mean, for the most part, I order from Grubhub, Caviar, and DoorDash now, because DoorDash ate up Caviar during the pandemic. But I order from these various food delivery apps, services, to get food. And they were like, okay, listen, you're gonna have to return in 2 weeks just to confirm or not confirm this reading, because if this reading is true in 2 weeks, then we have to put you on a whole bunch of medication because you will have high blood pressure. That scared the living daylights out of me. That scared the life out of me. I thought that I was about to become like one of these guys, that have to eventually go on a wheelchair or be amputated because I have early onset diabetes or high blood pressure. So what I started doing was I stopped ordering all food delivery services. I went to the supermarket and I started buying things like chicken breast or cage-free chicken breast, grass-fed beef, rice, organic rice, all that stuff. And I started to cook on my own. And I just ate food that I cooked for the next 2 weeks until I had the next blood pressure reading appointment. On which day, when I had my blood pressure reading appointment, the second one, the doctor saw my blood pressure and it was completely fine. It was great. She was like, "What happened, Sombra? What did you? Maybe the first one was a mistake. So come back in another 2 weeks just to make sure that you're good. That reading, this new reading, wasn't a mistake of some sort." I returned the third time, and the blood, continuing my habits in the interim of time between the second and this third reading, and I was fine. My blood pressure reading was great. A long story to tell you guys succinctly that stay away from foods that are high in salt, high in sodium, seed oils, food that are high in sugar. Because if you continuously consume those foods, and of course drinking alcohol is horrible for you. This physical reality, worships many, many things that are adverse to not only the spirit and the body, but that's for another discussion. But these things are horrible for you. So stay away from those things, cook your own food, go outside, do a lot of cardio, do a lot of strength training, and you will be fine. You will be great, right? You'll have an abundance of energy, like your friend here, Nathaniel. I was just pretending to be Sombra because that's just what I do. Up to 50% of the adult population has never had their blood pressure checked, says Dr. Oliver Gutman, consultant cardiologist and honorary associate professor at Bart's Health NHS Trust and the HCA Wellington Hospital. He sounds like he's never sent more than 50 resumes in his life to get a job, this guy, man. It is something many people overlook, although ultimately it can be to their cost. I know we have skepticism. I know in the other video I was talking about skepticism towards professional medical experts. But listen, blood pressure, you want to make sure that your blood pressure is checking out fine. If your blood pressure is not checking out fine, or you're afraid of going to the doctor and you have like questionable eating habits, you are probably in trouble and you might want to check that out. Guys, seriously, this is no joke. If you do happen to have these issues, then it will impede you physically and you will have to find an alternative way to live your life that is not necessarily a healthy way. Right? With each heartbeat, blood is pumped around the body through arteries that contract and relax as it pushes against the sides of the vessel walls. They're explaining the cardiovascular system now, or the circulatory system. A certain amount of pressure is needed to ensure blood flows fluidly and effectively, providing energy and oxygen where required. But if blood pressure is too high, it causes strain on the arteries and heart, increasing the risk of strokes, heart attacks, and other health problems. High blood pressure can damage arteries in the back of the eye, resulting in blurred vision. I didn't even know that it impedes vision. And sight problems, Gutman says. Over time, it can harm blood vessels so that blood flow to organs such as the kidneys is reduced, potentially causing long-term damage. So not only you will have cardiovascular issues, you will also have sight issues when you have high blood pressure. This is one of the big problems. This is one of the huge reasons why you should avoid it at all costs. Guys, I know that in life they tell you that it's good to be obese, right? It's body positivity. It's good to eat whatever you want. It's good to drink whenever you want. It's good to perform a lot of very, very strange and perverse acts whenever you want. But at the end of the day, there is the biological that has the edicts and truths, right? There are just some things you cannot do to your body, or else you will feel it, and it will come about in the disorders will come about in the form of diseases, illnesses, debilitations. Stay away from harmful, perverse acts to the body, and please eat healthy. If you don't eat healthy, you're prone to having blood pressure issues, and you're probably gonna have to be in a wheelchair or be amputated. Guys, please be healthy. I'm gonna stress it more and more. Please be healthy. Me, like I said, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I haven't done this stuff for years. I don't eat pork, because pork, first of all, I'm allergic to pork, and it's one of the worst meats that you could eat in this reality, right? They eat anything, and especially in the US of A, these guys do not take care of their animals, right? So they have pigs eating anything, right? I stay away from all these things. I do not sin sexually. I do not do any of that stuff. I am sober completely, and I feel great. And you will feel that way too if you just watch your health. God damn it, watch your health. We got some advice from P to B here. Exercise is a must. I'm gonna repeat it. Exercise is a must because it helps to lower systolic blood pressure. But which type of activity is best? We already know, guys. Strength training, which is a mix of cardio and utilizing the appendages of the body, right? For a study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, Dr. Jamie O'Driscoll, right? A researcher in cardiovascular physiology at Canterbury Christ Church University, ranked exercise types according to the blood pressure bursting ability. He says that all physical activity is good for your cardiovascular health, but that some forms have particular benefits for blood pressure, helping to reduce inflammation and improve the performance of the heart, all of which enhance cardiovascular health. Top of O'Driscoll's rankings was isometric exercises that entails holding a muscle under tension with no movement for a set time. We know this. So I love exercise, so I'm gonna tell you some of the exercises that I like to do, right? Doing planks is a good one. Doing a barbell squat, right? And just holding it there and then going up again. Doing body weight squats if you don't feel like doing barbell squats. Doing push-ups, doing barbell curls, right? Slowly. Anything that increases the flow of blood through the blood vessels, right? You do that, you're gonna be fine, and you'll probably prevent blood pressure. Trust me. Trust me. So we're done with this article. We're gonna go on to the next article. We learned so much already. We learned not only that exercise is great and eating healthy is great, which is obvious, right? We also learned that that we got people from GQ magazine trying to tempt people towards sexually being licentious, even if you're near sober, because it feels better. This one is an interesting one. It's by the Scientific American magazine. The article is written by a person. By a person. I can't find the name of the editorial list. But the article is called Learning Favoritism. The way we're built to learn may divide us. This is interesting. We're gonna read a little bit, of course, as we usually do, and then we're gonna just analyze it afterwards. I'll give you my opinion. The human brain tends to play favorites. Its prejudices, well demonstrated by psychological studies, include the halo effect. If we like a certain quality in a person, we are more likely to perceive their unrelated traits positively as well. There's also affinity bias, we know this, which refers to how we gravitate toward people with backgrounds or characteristics similar to our own. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. If you search up, problems in Gaza, or if you search up, maybe Jewish people are not the true Israelites from the Old Testament, then you're gonna keep receiving that bit of information. That's the affinity bias working and sneaking their way into the algorithms that govern our social media systems that we consume on a day-to-day. We know this. So this person is saying in the beginning paragraph that we tend to gravitate to things that we identify the most with, and we tend to implicitly shunt the things that we don't identify with, even though that is an objective truth in itself, as with the thing that you are sort of connecting with. Now, a study shows how cognitive biases could profoundly affect our most basic learning and memory processes. What we show is not that people are biased, that we already kind of know, says Inés Bramao. Hey, she's from una brasilera. Hey. psychologist at Sweden's Lund University and co-author of the new study published in Communication Psychology. We give an explanation of why people are biased. The fundamental mechanism may be that we are more likely to expand our knowledge based on information provided by people we like. Such bias could help explain how people develop strongly polarized views. Okay, I don't want to really talk about, I don't know if I could talk about this on YouTube, but you know, the Chancellor of Germany that was Austrian after, you know, that began World War II, that person. This person was saying a whole bunch of horrible things about, a lot of racist things, right? But ultimately, people liked him because of his personality. They sort of connected with him based on the things that this person said, you know, this Chancellor of Germany. That also burned, by the way, fun fact about this character, when he came into office, he burned a lot of sexual literature. Interesting. That shows that even though a person's words can be horrible, because a person is liked, people will still connect with them, and then they'll just sort of not look at any of the negative things that that person says or does. Psychologist Charles Stone of the City University of New York says that this study is just the beginning and that further research could move beyond images to test learning with real world events. This could have important implications for how people make inferences and connect dots about their beliefs that match their worldviews. There's a lot of fodder moving forward. So I think that this article, that's it. The article is pretty short. I think that this article is a couple years late because a lot of social media websites utilize this bias of certain types of information to consistently provide the news feed and the user feed of the consumer with the same types of information due to that bias, due to that affinity bias. It's kind of wild. I think I'm a big proponent of obtaining objective knowledge. At the end of the day, okay, there might be a big dislike towards, I guess, dark-skinned people in the world, right? Or in certain parts of the world. There might be a certain preference for ice cream on a hot day, right? But the objective truths of this reality, no matter what happens, is that 2 + 2 = 4, no matter what O'Brien tells Winston in 1984, right? Gravity will always exist to a certain degree here. The only colors that are seeable in this reality are 7 colors, right? These are objective truths, and I believe that we as a species can become much more powerful and much more enlightened and much more empowered if we understood these facts and try to connect with these facts. It is good to learn information from specific individuals that may seem charming, that may have a gift of the gab, or just may seem like they've lived your life, right? Or they're in the same shoes as you are. But at the end of the day, you must connect with objective truths. There are realities, there are things in this reality, there are truths that cannot be denied. And the more that we try to connect with these things, the more we'll become better as a species. And so with that being said, Nathaniel, I'm off to another party, right? Sobriety Piso is coming back from the bathroom. He was staying there for a very long time. If you like that content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. Give me feedback. I know you guys are watching the other Peruse the News videos. This is great. This is great. Oh, give Sombra feedback, not me. I'm not Sombra del Piso. I'm Nathaniel, right? Give Sombra del Piso feedback. We want to know how we could make it better. I'm just his associate, his proxy, right? So at the end of the day, don't let this place get you down, according to Sombra, because I know we have a lot of biases that we'll tend to associate with. Being sober is a good thing because you get to feel sex better and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you have to objectively look at a situation and see how it makes you feel, and not see how it makes you feel, and understand that if it's real, if it's concrete in reality, that those rules must be respected. And stay radiant. Sombra will see you in the next one. Woo!